What's up, my comic comrades? Today we continue covering the brand new Venom series where Dylan Brock, Eddie's son, has now become the new Venom. We covered the first issue of the series back in December, so definitely check that episode out before watching this one if you haven't already. As for today, we're going to break down issues 2 and 3 of this new Venom series. But before we get started, we want to thank Keeps for sponsoring today's episode. It's no secret that 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the time they reach 35, something I know firsthand. But whether you're looking to prevent your hair from taking a permanent vacation or just take care of the hair you've got, Keeps has got you covered. Keeps offers a simple, clinically proven, research-backed process to stop hair loss and improve hair growth. Just go to keeps.com/variant comics and start by setting a time to talk with one of Keeps' licensed doctors online and get your consultation without ever having to visit a doctor's office. Your Keeps physician will help you choose the right products and treatments for you. Then you'll skip the lines at the pharmacy as well, because your treatment will be delivered right to your front door every 3 months. And to sweeten the pie, by using our link, you'll get an extra 50% off your first order. Anyway, once you get your treatment in hand, all you have to do is follow your prescribed plan and start tracking your progress. But you don't want to procrastinate, because the sooner you get started with Keeps, the sooner you'll start to see results. Keeps will also have your back all along the way with 24/7 access to their network of expert medical advisors, prescribers, and care specialists who can answer any questions you might have. I mean, there's a good reason why hundreds of thousands of men already trust Keeps for their hair loss prevention, because hair loss stops with Keeps. So jump over to keeps.com/variant comics or click our link in the description to get 50% off your first order of hair loss treatment. Again, that's keeps.com/variant comics. You can thank us later. With that said, let's take a look at issues 2 and 3 of Venom. Issue 2 starts off with a flashback from the end of issue 1 with Dylan watching his father die. As he says, whatever you do, don't bond with the symbiote. But as we know, Dylan didn't listen and bonded with the Venom symbiote. Venom then says, "He's gone, kid. Eddie Brock is nothing but dust and bones. There's no going back from here. Just you and me now. You understand? We are Venom." We are then brought back to the present time where we see Dylan stowing away on a train with his cat Sleeper. Sleeper wakes him up saying, "Dylan, you were mumbling in your sleep." Dylan sighs and says, "Crap," as Venom comes out saying, "Bad dreams about Eddie?" Dylan replies, "You could have gone after him. You could have saved him. He'd still be here. Why? Why did you come for me?" The Venom symbiote says, "I asked myself, what would Eddie Brock do? He'd have chosen you too." Which is 100% correct. They all get off the train just 28 miles from Sacramento, California, and we get captions of Eddie talking to his son, essentially saying, "I'm sorry you're in danger. I'm sorry you're paying my toll. Seems even as a god I cannot lift the world from your shoulders. Maybe we all carry what we must. I promise. I'll explain. I promise we will meet again." We then see Dylan hitch a ride with someone and learn that these captions from Eddie are coming from a voicemail he left Dylan. And before Eddie wraps up his voicemail, he says, "If we don't see each other by the time you're here, Dylan, I want you to go to Max's Diner outside Clarksville and ask for Archer Lyle." So that's exactly what Dylan does. While he's inside waiting for Archer, he sees Senator Crane on TV telling the nation that for far too long we have sat back complicit and convinced that alien species, particularly the symbiotes, were a manageable threat. But no more will we just sit back. In my father's memory, with the help of Mayor Fisk, and in my new capacity as your new senator, I am making it my mission to address the symbiote menace at the highest echelons of power in the country. I will not rest until every human being in this great nation of ours is made to feel safe. Sleeper, Dylan's symbiote cat, says, "We should leave this place, Dylan. Too many eyes on us. We should keep moving." Dylan responds, "But where do we go?" "I don't know how to do this, Sleeper." Sleeper says, "We have a name, Archer Lyle. That's a start." I say we head someplace quiet out of the way and come back when we have a plan. So that's exactly what they do, as we keep seeing this mysterious woman on the phone behind the 3 of them. We are then taken to the CEO of the Life Foundation, Carlton Drake, who's watching the Venom attack and Senator Crane address the nation on several TV screens. We see that he's with Senator Crane saying, "All these years I've watched and studied and dissected and adapted, and yet each time I come across him, I am fascinated all over again," referring to Venom. The 2 of them get into a long conversation, and essentially what ends up happening is they end up making a deal to help one another. With Senator Crane saying, "If you play your cards right and don't spring any surprises my way, I'll have my congressional seat, and you, Mr. Drake, you might find yourself and the Life Foundation at the center of defining symbiote policy for years to come." With Mr. Drake responding, "And you'll have access to anything we find. That is, of course, if your encounter hasn't proven to be far too traumatic." As they're watching live video camera footage of Dylan and his 2 symbiotes. As Dylan is making his way through the city, Sleeper says, "Heads up. Picked up scents a few blocks ago, and they've managed to stick with us this whole time. I'd say we're being followed." So Sleeper, Dylan, and Venom go into an alley, as the Venom symbiote says, "Duck into the alley coming up on the left. Maybe we could slip out of the other side." We then see Senator Crane and Mr. Drake's men getting ready to move in on Dylan. And when they try to smoke them out with a smoke grenade, things don't go their way, as Dylan bonds with the Venom symbiote and starts going ham on all the soldiers. But when the soldiers start using their nullifiers, they almost get the upper hand on them. But Sleeper goes up to the rooftop and takes out the roof team. But another soldier goes up to Venom point blank saying, "Sorry kid, I'm ending this." But he's tased from behind by that mysterious woman who's been following Dylan. She then knocks out the soldier with a kick. Venom then looks at her saying, "I had him." She says, "Sure you did. I've been tailing you since the diner, and they've been tailing you since before that. You used your phone on your way. You're on pretty much every camera between here and Max's, but I'm sure you had him." We then learn this woman is Archer Lyle, the person Eddie told Dylan to meet. She tells Dylan, "Come with me if you want to live." And that's the end of issue 2, so let's jump into issue 3. Issue 3 starts off at the headquarters of the Life Foundation, where Mr. Drake is telling Mr. Carson all about symbiotes, saying stuff like the true nature of our problem becomes evident when we ask the question, what do we really know about symbiotes? He then goes on to explain that symbiotes are extraterrestrial in origin and depend on physiological symbiosis to survive and thrive on different worlds, hence the word symbiote. Drake then recaps what we found out about symbiotes in recent years through Donny Cates' amazing Venom run with the introduction of Null, god of the symbiotes, and so on and so forth. Mr. Drake then asks Mr. Carson, "Are you still keeping track? Good. Then you will understand that the only thing we truly know about the so-called symbiotes is that we know so very little about these ever-changing, ever-adapting organisms, forever evolving beyond our grasp." Drake then says, "Tell me, Mr. Carson, what is an umbrella?" He replies, "Something that keeps the rain off?" Drake responds, "Yes. You see how we define things by their function? If I were to poke a hole into the umbrella and let the rain through, would it stop being one? Yes? No? How many holes does it take before an umbrella changes into something else?" Mr. Carson replies, "I still don't see what any of this has to do with taking down the Venom symbiote." Drake tells him, "Precisely, Mr. Carson. I'm not interested in taking down the Venom symbiote. Our endeavor is to poke as many holes as we can into the damn thing so we could see what it changes into." We are then taken to the Venom symbiote, who says, "Something's changed. Everything's changed. Eddie, you really are gone, aren't you? Gone for good. Sometimes I reach into the black within myself and I cannot hear your voice, or mine, not even his. God is dead, and so is Eddie Brock. I have no hive, I have no host, I have no home. What have I become, Eddie Brock? What is happening to me?" The Venom symbiote then recaps its life saying, "And yet all the things I've done, here I am, a dog, Eddie Brock, tethered by the flimsiest of chains on some wet street corner watching weaklings sneer as they walk past. I considered it. I thought to leave this place, leave your boy to his own ends. He does not wish to be you. He does not wish to be Venom. He does not trust me, Eddie. But each time I gather the courage to set out on my own, I find myself leashed by a dead man's longing for his son. I may not be your father, Dylan Brock, but I am all that's left of him." Can we just pause for a second, because that's an amazing piece of dialogue and really just shows how much the Venom symbiote cares for and respects Eddie Brock. Anyway, we are then taken into an abandoned place where Archer and Dylan investigate everything that's going on. She tells them, "Your father told me in 6 days I'm going to die." Dylan says, "Wait, he knew he was going to die?" She says, "Honestly, I thought he'd gone completely over the bend," talking about some shadow organization called the Absent Throne. But then some of the stuff he pointed to checked out. She then says, "I found stuff on the Absent Throne, so either your father was crazy or he was telling the truth, and from my investigation, I found out whoever or whatever this Absent Throne is, their interest is centered around symbiotes. I found our best bet is digging deeper, a small research facility in Plymouth. I've cased the place before. Our chances of finding a good link there are good, and they're small enough for any digging to go unnoticed." Dylan says, "Awesome, of course I'm going with you." She's like, "No," but he says, "No, it's happening, and I'm bringing the cat." He then leaves Venom, who asks, "What are you so afraid of, kid? What do you see when you look at me? Some flea-bitten old pet or a Clintar monster? Black as a shadow waiting for its moment to swallow you whole." Dylan just ignores him, so Venom says again, "Are you really that much of a coward?" Dylan replies, "I keep waiting to see him, you understand? You've been in my head, haven't you? You of all things should know that every time I look at you, I keep waiting to see my dad come through." They then make their way to Exodynamics Materials Research and take out all the guards. Archer then leads Dylan into a room and then locks the door behind them saying, "Sorry, kid," as military dudes start approaching Dylan. Archer then says through the window, "They found me looking in and this was my only way out." That's right, Archer set up Venom and Dylan. Military dudes then start firing sonic blasts at Dylan, but Sleeper, the cat, turns into his symbiote form to try to hold them off, but it doesn't work, and both Sleeper and Dylan are knocked out and contained. The soldiers say, "We have the boy and the symbiote contained. Ready to move out, Mrs. Allen," telling us this is Liz Allen. She then says, "We know how to break what we make." Archer then says, "You weren't kidding, Liz. I just feel sorry for the kid." She then replies, there's a symbiote arms race coming, and whether he knows it or not, Dylan Brock is right in the middle of it. What we did here tonight, Archer, is going to save a lot of lives. We are then taken back to the Life Foundation where Mr. Carson says, I get it, Mr. Drake, you're fascinated by these things. But if they are truly ever-changing, ever-evolving things, you realize this is an arms race, right? Mr. Drake says, escalation is the key to inspiring evolution. You are right, Mr. Carson, and I imagine you'll find that this escalation fits you quite well. As he opens the door to reveal to him a new suit while asking, so what do you think, Mr. Carson? Feel like taking the spearhead out for a spin? As we get a final panel of the Venom symbiote looking for Dylan. And there you have it, friends, issues 2 and 3 of the brand new Venom title. So far, I'm liking this series, but it hasn't quite grabbed me in the way that Donny Cates' Venom book did. Having said that, we're only a few issues in, and we definitely want to give it some time to get into the meat of the story. I'm just saying it hasn't blown my socks off yet. Anyway, I'm very curious to see where this ultimately goes, but what do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments. First up for the week of January 26th, we have Death of Doctor Strange issue 5. This is the finale of the series, and the murderer is revealed. The Marvel Universe stands at the brink of destruction. The three mothers and their master, the Peregrine Child, are about to claim victory, and Strange's murderer is having the last laugh. It all comes down to one last trick from the young time-traveling Doctor Strange. Next up, we have Deathstroke Inc. issue 5. Deathstroke and Black Canary are trapped in the Ghost Zone. To escape the horror, the Deathstroke Inc. team must confront their own ghosts and deal with the deadly offer from the returning Libra. Third on the list is Astonishing Times, the collected edition. Yes, all 5 issues of my first comic is now available in collected form, which in my opinion is the best way to read it. So you can pick that up right now on Comixology or Kindle. Next, we have Marvel's Devil's Reign issue 3. New York City stands at the brink of disaster as Mayor Wilson Fisk has at last reached a breaking point. With an army of supervillains at his back and a deputized crew of supervillainous thunderbolts on the streets and in every police station, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Daredevil are all about to learn that danger is closer than they ever thought possible. And finally, we have Iron Man issue 16. Iron Man's cosmic transformation continues. The Iron God arrives back on Earth, intent on making his homeworld a better place for all. Finally, Tony Stark has the power to realize all of his best ideas and intentions, but perhaps the power cosmic might enable his ego in ways never seen before. Is the Iron God a fantastic evolution of their old friend or a grave threat? And that's gonna bring today's episode of Variant to a close, but if you enjoyed today's Venom episode, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.